Hello Libra, how are you? Thank you for watching. Welcome to my channel. I don't really have anything to say, so I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start with your love reading first and then move into your general reading for March 2016. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? It's the love reading for Libra for March 2016. Okay, well, Libra, if I remember correctly, you had the most beautiful reading, I think, of all the signs last month. This one not so romantic, this one not so, but there's still good things about it. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm wondering if there's not some longing over the past or some longing over things that once were. If you're in a relationship that's maybe, been a year or two or 4 or 5, and maybe you're going through a period of wishing things were back in the honeymoon phase, or wishing things were continuing to be as sweet. Or if you're married and have been for a very, very long time, there's a part of you that is longing over something in the past, longing something that you might not really have a lot of control over. And I think it's really affecting you. And your mind seems to be quite active this month. You have 4 sword cards, and 3 of swords tells me there's some process of healing that you're going through, something that happened in the past that you are getting through. And Ace of Swords tells me that there's some sort of clarity. And the word that's been coming to me, this has shown up for a couple of the signs as well, is the word truth. And being honest with yourself and reaching that mental clarity, and not hoping for things that never could be, or longing for things that aren't worth longing for anymore. And finding, albeit this is a caveat, finding some level of peace in that truth. Now, it's not going to come easy. In fact, I think you're probably going to have a little bit of a battle between the truth and maybe this thing that you're longing for, this connection that you used to have with someone. Or if you have been dating someone, kind of, maybe it's you're finally realizing that it just might not ever work out. So it can go all different ways, all different lengths of the spectrum, depending on where you are in your relationship. If you're completely single, it can be indicative of wanting a relationship or craving that connection with someone as well. But ultimately, with the 4 of Swords, like I said, your mind is going to be very active. Your mind might have a tendency to be reliving these things, reliving these moments. And I feel like you're maybe caught up a little bit in the past, which is a very interesting thing. I don't think I've ever had a reading like this so much. It's you're living in the past, not living in the past, but you are drawn to the things in the past. You keep, like I said, you're replaying scenarios, you're replaying conversations, you're replaying things, or you're speculating about what if you said this, what if this had happened instead. And that can add a lot of weight to that healing process. It can add a lot of frustration because there's no point in reliving that. There's no point in looking back in that manner. I think this is all in regards to someone, perhaps a Knight of Wands, a King of Wands, and these swords are directly pointing at them and also directly connected with him here. And I think this is really you. I really do. I think this is you chasing something, you chasing an idea, chasing an illusion. I mean, remember, swords are illusions. They're sometimes also delusions. So be wary of that. And this energy here is, I mean, both cards, King and Knight, they are looking out, away. They're looking in the same direction as the Cups. This might be someone, if a relationship has ended, this might be you maybe making one last attempt to maybe make it work. The Wheel of Fortune. I didn't even touch on this. The Wheel of Fortune is turning. It's constantly turning. It is a mini cycle in these large chunks of time in our life, whether it's a year or 5 years or 10 years, these large super cycles. In those large chunks of time, we have many mini cycles, right? And this is purely an indication of a mini cycle, that there is something changing, something is occurring that is out of our control. It's important to remember that, because the Wheel of Fortune really is fate or the universe stepping in, because we have a lot of control over our life. We have a control over our mind, as difficult as it can be sometimes. We do have control over it, over our emotions, over our choices, our actions. We have control over what job we do, what partners we choose, all sorts of different things. But at a certain point, the universe steps in. Wherever that control leaves off, the universe picks up. And I think there's going to be some universal interaction, some universal intervention that comes into play. And I think it's going to have a lot to do with this Ace of Swords, right? That truth, that honesty, whether it's an honest conversation that you have, whether it's an expression of a feeling that you have or that this person has. It's actually a freedom for you. I think in the past you have been jailed, for lack of a better word. You've been jailed by your thoughts. You've been trapped. You've been in a very dreamlike state, almost. Your imagination, imagines things. You think about things. You project certain things that might not really be a reflection in reality. And here you are chasing a partner, someone who is someone maybe whom you respect, someone whom you look up to, you appreciate their presence in your life. But them maybe not as much as you, not to say they completely don't appreciate you, but there is some change going on for them. Wands indicate transformation and change. It might be a fire sign that this is in relation to Sagittarius, Leo, Aries. They are changing. They are on their own course. They are moving along in their life. And even though they too might be affected by these swords, and they too might be having a process of healing and a process of getting over something, right? They too are experiencing a very active mind. They are visualizing and thinking things and trying to find reason and trying to find an explanation for certain things that happened in the past. They are changing as much as you. They are mentally active as much as you. But I see that you might be clinging a little bit more to that idea than they are. This type of person is very good at separating their thoughts and their feelings and going out and doing things, whereas you might chase your thoughts a little bit more. Okay? So what I want to do here now, with this spread, this is a very common spread. I'm telling all the signs this. This is called the Spirit Guide spread, and none of the placements in this spread truly have like a solidified meaning, right? It's just how the information flows and how I interpret it as the reader. So I decided, instead of pulling one card at the end, I want to pull 3 additional cards. So that's what I've been doing for all the signs. And I hope it just gives us a little bit more information, okay? So let's go ahead and shuffle. No, that top one wants to stick, so we'll go with that. Oh, well, isn't that lovely? What a lovely way to finish the reading. Ace of Wands right next to the Ace of Swords and the Nine of Swords as well. And I think ultimately this is a very positive outcome for you. Ace of Wands, new passions. Maybe there is a renewal of passion of some sort amongst you and this person. You know, if this person is still getting over something in their past, you know, if you've been dating someone and you're feeling like, you know, he or she, I say he because it's a king, but he or she, if you feel like they have been withholding, if they've been holding back and they haven't necessarily opened up to you and allowed you to come into their life and into their heart, I see perhaps a new freedom for that. Again, aces are indicative of freedom and feeling a release in different areas, a release in your thoughts and a release in life, a release in the way that you approach life, having new ambitions, new endeavors, new journeys, new passions coming in. And it can really indicate, you know, a clear mind and a clear path for you. And I do see that for both of you. Now, these swords quickly become these cups and this judgment. I see you coming up out of the darkness of those swords, and more so you, but I put them in between the rows because I want this to sort of tie these together and then these to tie these together. It can go any direction, but ultimately this row and this row is connected with these 2 cards, so it does apply to both of you. And, you know, I actually, a lot of times in my personals, I put the cards right here, and that's just because, and I don't do that because I don't want you to not be able to see the other cards. So again, if I were to do that, this 10 of Cups really tying in their energy, but you coming up out of the darkness, you know, but also applies to both. There is some awakening, there is some renewal, some rebirth, something that happens between the 2 of you that I think will be pleasantly surprising. And if you've been clinging on to an idea, clinging on to an illusion or an idea that you have about someone, especially if you're dating, especially if there's someone in your life that you have been longing for and dreaming about and thinking about, and someone who has caused your mind to be so active, I think you and them, both of you, I think you have a new chapter ahead of you together. Okay? So very interesting, very good reading. Not as magical, I don't think, as last month's, but still very, very promising. So let's go ahead and move into the generals. Okay, just so you know, I accidentally shuffled in some in reverse. I do reversals sometimes in my personals, not always, but I didn't straighten all of them out. I didn't realize, and this has actually come out a couple of times in some other readings as well, a couple reversals. So I'm just gonna let it go, and we'll use it, even though I don't typically do that for these readings. Okay, let's see. This here is an indication of how active your mind actually is, and how maybe your heart is actually feeling a little bit confused, and you don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this on the general side. I'm not, there might be some career elements here to it, but I'm also seeing a little bit of love areas coming in. So I'm going to try to not do so much love, but I'll try to connect it if I can. The Hermit is a process, right? A process through which we all must go at some point. And it's just a very introspective, what do I want in my life? And this can also have a lot to do with that Ace of Swords, that truth seeking. I think right now you are as a truth seeker, right? And there might be some good things happening in your life around you. There might be some work elements, some sort of a promotion or some sort of, a raise, some reward of some sort that comes into your life. Especially with the Hierophant here. Hierophant can indicate, corporations, organizations, educational institutions, churches, all sorts of different things. And to have a gift, as some financial compensation for effort and energy and time being spent in those areas, I think will sort of manifest itself this month or in the next coming months. I do see collaboration. I see, creativity and even design of the future, design of your next phase, right? Even, you have 2 3s here, 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands. For me, standing at where you are now, having accomplished everything you've accomplished, you've gone through everything you've gone through, you've reached a certain point in your life, career, financially, religiously, whatever. And now you stand at the forefront. This is that Wheel of Fortune coming into play. The Wheel of Fortune is turning, and as it turns, as it makes its final, resolution, it brings about a lot of new things for you. And it's important for you to remain open. It's important for you to remain, well, let's talk about this Queen of Wands because, actually, before I do that, let me move into the Devil, actually, because the Devil really is perhaps you not remaining open, right? You have really beautiful things, but yet you feel sort of, you have beautiful things on either end of this, but yet you feel, your very active mind, remember, you feel as though maybe you are obligated to something, obligated to someone. Perhaps there is someone in your life, something in your life that is preventing you from truly appreciating the value of these new opportunities. This can even be financial obligations. It can be, a partnership. Perhaps there's a partner in your life that might not really be wanting you to grow, that might not be wanting you to move on because they feel like they might be getting left behind. Emotionally, I see it as a struggle for you. This big picture, this truth seeking is difficult and challenging, especially when you have an outside influence in your life, someone who's not feeling completely like themselves, someone who's not feeling completely like they were meant to be there on that ride with you, right? And sometimes, and again, it doesn't have to be a partner, it can be a coworker, a boss, this is someone that's not feeling, this can be a very poisonous type of personality at times. The Queen of Wands in reverse can be, not always, can be more manipulative and jealous and, and I say poisonous because I always think of her like spitting fire, kind of like a dragon kind of thing. She spits fire. Queen of Swords in reverse, shoots ice kind of thing. So there's a lot of passion behind this, but maybe passion in not the best ways. And it can affect you, and it can, make you feel like you're being obligated to stay in one point, but ultimately you have a desire, you have a longing and the opportunity to actually progress and continue on in your life. Now, the Eight of Wands tells me that there is some sudden change, okay? This can be a communication as well. We'll get some more information, hopefully, when I pull the additional cards. Some communication, maybe a conversation with this person. Maybe, for me, sometimes it indicates freedom as well. So perhaps you do break free from these chains, break free from that obligation on some level in order to allow yourself to move. This can be even a card of travel. This can also be a card of travel. So maybe there is some excursion that you're really wanting to take, that you're wanting to do, that you're wanting to go and have fun. And maybe financially it doesn't necessarily make sense, but yet you can still do that. You actually end up doing it. And I think the piece of advice here is that regardless of who this is, depending who it is, it's important to remember, like I said, the value of the opportunities that are being presented to you. This organization, this institution, this person here, perhaps this is not an institution, perhaps this is a person, maybe someone that you respect, someone that you look up to, maybe someone that heads up, maybe you own your own business and it's a client, right? And it's someone that you respect and that you work for, and they head up something larger, you know, some company, some business, and they are presenting you with opportunities. It can be a boss. Same thing here. You're going to need to determine who these people really are. If not, just the general energies, they can go in so many, you know, millions and millions of directions. So, but I think this is someone who's more in your favor than this one. This one might be someone that is jealous of your success, someone that's jealous of your freedom, jealous of your talent, jealous of other things in your life and your ability to create things and your ability to make things happen. Don't allow this person to affect you so much. Ultimately, like I said in that last reading, you do have a lot of control over your life. At the point where you do not have control, the universe will kick in. So don't fret. Just do everything that you can to make yourself happy and to harness those opportunities on your own, for your own fruition. Okay, Libra, here we go. Okay, well, definitely a lot of, like I said, work elements. I certainly believe there's going to be some news in terms of your career, in terms of the means through which you acquire money, okay? And some news, some information, these go very, very well together. Again, if this is a person, if it's not, you know, indicative of a organization or an institution, it can be a person who has the ability to offer this to you as well. Okay, now I think there's interesting that you have so much, you know, promise and an opportunity here, but then you have the Five of Pentacles, which can mean maybe a little bit of hard times. But I honestly, whenever this card comes out, I see it more as hard times, not always financially, but more on the mentality side. And for me, this is the perception is not always the reality. The way we perceive things in our life, in our surroundings, or the way we perceive things to be on that other side. The grass is greener on the other side, right? Is it really greener, or do we just think it is because it's just not ours and it's, you know, it's just a different shade or something like that? Ultimately, I see you mastering any confusion, and I really think that this does have a lot to do with the Queen and the Devil and the Seven of Cups even. It's just that when you feel like you're being held back on some level, like you're feeling obligated, sometimes we feel, or we make justifications, we rationalize not moving forward. We rationalize our way through these without really examining. And I think it's important to step outside of ourselves as much as possible and look back in objectively. I mean, these pentacles are very logical, they're objective mentalities, right? And they're not so driven by emotion, but rather driven by practicality. So if you can remove yourself on some level and look into a situation partnership, work environment, something that's making you feel like you can't progress, and really admit to yourself truly what it is. And again, that can have a lot to do with that truth, that Ace of Swords that came out in that last reading. Ultimately, I see you embracing your situation, embracing the opportunities, and becoming successful with those things, and feeling like you can bring your situation to life, like you can bring it to fruition, and that you truly do have control over the outcome of your life, right? So embrace it. Okay, well, that is all I have for you this month. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next month. Thank you.